Merry meet, guys. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I am your Wednesday host, Houston, and this week we are talking about how to develop one's psychic abilities. Natalie and Jennifer did an awesome job with their videos this week, and I want to add my thoughts and how I developed my abilities. I am also of the same mind, like Natalie said, that everyone is a little bit psychic. We all have these hunches, these instincts. Just like she said, when you walk into a room and it just feels weird, or you feel like someone's watching you, or something like that, or you feel like something bad's going to happen, like while you're driving a car or what have you, and something does, that type of thing. There's more examples, but I don't want to just have examples. Now there are. Start at the basics. So how I developed my psychic abilities. One of the best ways for me was learning to meditate, learning to calm my mind, even though I know I can't sit there and have my fingers and legs in a lotus position and do this and quiet my mind and think of nothing. I personally I can't do that. But there's other forms of meditation. There's coloring. I do those adult coloring books. Zoning out for about an hour and coloring an entire photo, or even longer, is a form of meditation. Going for a walk in nature, driving, that's an iffy one, even though it has been stated that that's kind of a form because your brain kind of goes onto autopilot sometimes. It's kind of like the instance where you're leaving work and all of a sudden you're home and you don't really remember the in-between, which sounds extremely dangerous. Taking a shower can be meditative. Reading a book can be meditative. Listening to music, dancing, active meditation. There's active and passive, but that's not what we're talking about. So meditation is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to control and enhance and figure out what your psychic abilities are. Now, when we go into psychic abilities, there are the clairs. There's 6 clairs. I know everyone says, well, not everyone. There's 6 clairs. There's, of course, clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudience, clear hearing, clairsentience, which is clear feeling, clairolience or clairessence, which is clear smelling, clairgustance, which is clear tasting, and then there is claircognizant, which is clear knowing. So the 6th sense is the knowing, just knowing something out of nowhere, play on words. But there's also documented, hold on, there's abilities within those abilities that, like clairsentience. People who are clairsentients can usually pick up an object and read it. That ability is called psychometry, where you're able to pick up a random object or an object someone gave you and read its history and read what it's been through, who its owners are, and if anything is going on with them, etc., etc. With clairvoyance, there's remote viewing, there's premonitions, there's where you go into the past, retro. I always call it retro viewing, but there's a term and I can't think of it right now. Aura seeing, there's all these other abilities that are under the 6 clair terms. So that's something that you could eventually branch off of after you figure out where your strong points are. So I'm going to back up a little bit because I did jump a little bit ahead. Another fantastic way, like Natalie stated, is to work divination, is to do something a little bit every day, just like Jen said. I'm rehashing what they said. Do something, either meet with your guides, pray. That's one thing that a lot of pagans, I don't hear a lot of pagans talk about praying. I don't worship, but I do pray. Not all the time. I used to. but not all the time. I mean, you can pray to the universe, you can pray to the deities that you follow, you can pray to your higher self, you can pray to your ancestors, and it's basically the same thing. It's like you're praying to get your abilities, as long as the prayer is your connection to the divine, and if you do that every day, um, meeting the divine through prayer or through a small meditation, it opens you up energetically to receive more psychic information than what you already do, whether you notice it or not. It'll become more noticeable once you open up the channel. Um, what's another good way that hasn't really been talked about? Well, another good way to open up your psychic abilities is to be attuned to Reiki. That's really when I know when I was attuned, my psychic abilities blossomed, more so than they were before. I think if you're attuned to any energetic healing, it opens you up even more so because you're a channel for the energy. So I think getting attuned to any kind of healing modality will open you up. You'll also notice that if you do spell work or ritual work constantly, you'll notice that your abilities will start to peak. They'll start to show themselves because you're in that sacred space. You're in the mindset of meeting the divine and, again, being a channel for the divine. So that's one of the big key elements, in my opinion, is when you're a channel for the divine, your abilities are going to start to manifest, whether that's whether you're doing that through a healing, through divination, through meditation, or through ritual and spell work. If you continually do that, or prayer, I forgot that one. If you continually do that, and I'm not saying on a regular basis, I mean, we're all human. If you don't have a set schedule and you get home from work and you're exhausted one day and the next day you're full of energy, I do believe that it's okay to skip out as long as you get back into practice. You can't just skip out and not go back into it and expect to have these amazing gifts. These gifts or abilities are like what everyone says, they're muscles, and they do need to be worked on or practiced or enhanced or strengthened. There's the term. That's the term. They need to be strengthened as much as, I'm trying to think. Precognition. That's the term. Haha. Darn it. I lost my train of thought. The abilities need to be strengthened to get better results, to I lost my train of thought. Dang it. I guess so you can we'll just go with that one. I'm just gonna stop. Okay, so another way to practice, and I think Natalie showed you guys, I do believe Natalie did show you guys, I'm trying to get them out, sorry, how she does these, but there's an actual, they're called Zener cards, Z-E-N-N-E-R cards, the plus sign, the square, the triangle, the circle, 2 circles, and a star. You can get these off Amazon. I found these in Books A Million or Big Lots, not Big Lots, Barnes and Noble, a while back, and they come with the colors. They come with 5 the colors. I think it's red, blue, yellow, black, and green. Yeah. And you can either work by sensing, so come like a deck. So you can shuffle and you can feel out what's on top, or you can spread them out. I don't know. These guys, me and a friend would go back again. Having a partner where you can practice is fantastic. Having friends that let you do readings for them, I think that helps out a lot because you're able to attune to their energy and not just the energy of yourself and the energy of your deck. You're able to attune your energy to someone else or to something else and read off of that, and it helps your abilities grow. So yeah, if you don't know what Zener cards are, I just showed you basically what they are. If you don't know how to use them, there's YouTube videos on how to use them. There's also get them online, Amazon, and I do believe one or two of them come with guidebooks. What I usually do is I separate the colors and the shapes. I shuffle, I draw 5 random cards, and I try to sense with my hands, or I put one in front of me and I just sense. I don't use any hand motion or anything. I just close my eyes and I try to sense what it is, and I write down, did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? You know, so that's pretty cool. And you guys know that I love my books. And one of the books that I thought that I know I had because I've taught classes off of it before. Now, I'm big on this is how it's an easy way to start psychic abilities. It's How to Do Psychic Readings Through Touch by Ted Andrews. I had an older version. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. It's only $9 on Amazon. You can get it used for like $4. I got an older version a long time ago from. Did I buy it online? I think that was one of my online purchases. Um, and it's gonna be fuzzy now. That's fine. And I taught a class on Psychometry 101, which that's basically how to do psychic readings through touch as you're working psychometry, which, like I said earlier, is picking up an object or touching a person and getting a sense of their energy and what's going on with them, and get a reading for them. Since I believe, well, it's not I believe, the skin is your biggest organ on your body. I think it's easier, in my perspective, to start out learning how to sense with your hands and with your skin, more so than just focusing on your ears, your eyes, your tongue, your nose, your brain, things like that. I think for me, it was like it's going to sound bad. It was a gateway into other abilities. So when I first started out, I would be able to pick up an object and start reading it, but I get mental flashes, like quick screenshots, like movies and stuff. That's kind of what it looks like to me. But I also get sounds, like I'll hear people talking. They're too far away for me to understand, or I'll get a sense of emotion, like a feeling of some sort. So, for me, when I first started and I found out that I had a psychic ability, I thought I was going crazy, because my main clair is clairaudient, which means clear hearing. I thought I was going crazy. So in high school, when I started practicing, you know how out of nowhere you'll hear your name being called and you look around and there's no one there. No one looking at you, no one there. You just name out of thin air. That happened to me a lot. And I mean, like on a weekly basis, where, I looked around and I asked my friends, did you hear that? Did you? And it would be in it'd be in the same voice. It's like I was hearing myself in my head. So that's why I thought I was going crazy. Turns out I wasn't. I remember when I was when I was diagnosed with the stomach illness. Everything's to be pinpoint. Everything for me seems to be pinpoint back to that. When I was diagnosed with this, which is in remission, thankfully, I believe. I have a appointment coming up soon to verify. But when there was this. I was just down in the dumps because, I was in pain for about a year before that, like for a whole year. Like when I wasn't really eating much, I wasn't doing much of anything because I was in pain. So finally having something to put the pain with, like a name to put the pain with. And getting on a treatment, it sucked. And I was extremely depressed. And in high school, I went through an emo phase. So that's kind of explaining a little bit. But out of nowhere, sometimes when I felt like extremely, extremely low, and I know teenagers and hormones, you get depressed. It's a tough time for everybody, and I was no exception. I was depressed. I was busy, but it was. I'm not saying it was horrible, and I'm not saying it was fantastic. It's in between. But I know when it kind of hit me really bad, when I felt like shit from taking medication, um, I would have this song pop in my head, and it pops in my head today, and there's a reason. This song popped into my head, and I knew that, I knew that my grandmother was with me. My mom's mom passed away when I was 6 or 7. I was in first grade, and there was a song she used to sing all the time, and I'm not going to go into it because I'll start crying. But she would sing it, and I would. There was a little animated flower that would sing it, and then that's how she would respond when she was getting really close to death. She would hear the song and she would perk up. She would be a little more animated, but that song would play in my head, and I would get sad, but I would also be happy. Like out of nowhere, I would feel this immense happiness, and it's okay. Like the feeling that it's like someone's telling you, it's going to be okay. It's fine. Just keep going. And I talked to my mom about it, and every time I talk about it, I get teary-eyed. Talked to my mom about it, and she started crying really bad. Well, she started crying because she's like she knew what I was talking about because it happened to her. It wasn't so much for her the song. She started smelling roses and sunflowers, which was my grandmother's two favorite flowers. She loved flowers, but beside the point. She started crying and she understood. She said, "That's your grandmother. She's just telling you to get through it. You can do it." And my grandmother's been with me ever since. Like I feel her presence more strongly than any of my other ancestors. They do pop in on occasion, but my grandmother. I guess maybe it's because I have the song to connect with her. That she's more of my prominent guides. I do. If you're going to start working with psychic abilities, I highly, highly, highly suggest you learn how to protect yourself. Natalie gave a really good demonstration or a good explanation or outline of a basic protection with visualizing yourself in white light and stating that I am protected. I am statements, quotation I am statements, those are extremely powerful because I am is a very powerful vibrational phrase. There are also tons of books on psychic protection, but I would say the basics, if you want to learn your abilities, learn your abilities. I'm going to go back. Figure out a way that's going to help you enhance. So either work with divination, pray, meditate, in any way, passive or active meditation, dancing, running, walking, reading a book, zoning out in the shower, daydreaming, things like that. After that, or while that, I would start studying, or at least my opinion, I would start studying on how to ground your energy, how to learn how to do that. Also learn how to center yourself, so you make sure you're in your center space. You're not too far up here and you're not too far down at the bottom. Your chakra system is what I'm talking about. Your abilities and your center of power wants to come from your needs to come, in my opinion, from your solar plexus. That's where our will and our power resides. You don't want to have it too. You don't want to be too far in your headspace. Another story: when I first started, I was always up here. I was always in the clouds. I wasn't really grounded in anything. I wasn't getting a lot of stuff done, and I would have headaches all the time. And so the metaphysical shop that I don't go to anymore, but they're still open. When they first started, they had a chakra healer, and so I was like, I'll get my chakras aligned, just balanced and see what was going on. And he said that my third eye chakra was like out to here, and he put it back, and he said that's what would be, he balanced everything down. He said that's really what would be causing your headaches and everything else that's going on, the flightiness and everything. I wasn't really grounded. Um, all my energy was up into these three chakras instead of up all into the seven. So learning how to ground, how to center, and how to protect and to shield yourself and to protect yourself. Um, Working with crystals is also another fantastic thing. I put mine away when I got in. So yeah, I can continue to ramble on forever, but I think I'll end the video here. If you guys have any questions, if you think about anything that I may have glossed over but want more detail on, please comment down below. And until next week, many blessings.